This is Goku's son, DBZ, and welcome back to Comic Book Pickups. And first of all, I'd like to show a shirt I'm wearing today is one of my favorite Viking metal bands. If you don't know what it is, look it up, Viking metal, the genre. Anyways, this is the first of two issues I'm picked up for a friend this week. The first of which is Justice League Rebirth, issue number 2. As we see, it has a very nice cover, and of course now we have a new young female Green Lantern. And speaking of new Green Lanterns, here we go. And of course, as I said, with the Rebirth, it has really nice overall artwork. Very well done. Next, the second of the two issues picked up from my friend this week is Superman Rebirth issue number 4. Nice cover. And first, this is what we have. Looks interesting. Here's this thing. Father and son together. Double whammy. And that is a little preview of the new Superman. And these are previews to try to get you all out there in YouTube land interested to go out and pick up some of these comics. Because, come on, these new Rebirth issues are only $2.99. Seriously, $2.99 is not that bad a price, really, when you think about it. Considering most are $3.99, so it's a buck cheaper. Though they're coming out more often, so technically, in the end, DC's actually making more money. If you look at strategically from a business perspective. Also, they're a little bit thinner. A little bit less pages overall. But, of course, this is mine, issue number 2 of Nightwing Rebirth. I will say I like the Nightwing Rebirth so far. It seems to be more mature and just more adult themed than, say, Superman and stuff. Because there's a lot more blood and stuff in this. And that's one thing I appreciate, is it being more mature. And of course, next we have issue number 15 of Batman Begins. Batman Begins. Batman Beyond. Batman Begins is my favorite Batman movie. Anyways, of course, we see in the cover a particular familiar villain from Batman Beyond universe. As always, good artwork when it comes to the Batman Beyond comics. And I've also always kind of liked the design of the suit and overall abilities in Batman Beyond. It sort of feels like Batman meets Iron Man, more or less, is what you have. Considering it actually has jet boosters in the feet, so you can basically fly. And many other things, actually. Next, the last of the DC pickups this week is Injustice, Gods Among Us, issue number 15 of year 5. And of course we see what is Superman versus Hawkman, which is very interesting. And we see some of the group, and we see, of course, Yellow Lantern with Sinestro. Because as we know that Green Lantern ends up, Hal Jordan loses the ring and ends up becoming a Yellow Lantern. And here we see a little bit of a battle between Superman and Black Adam, which of course we know is going to be in live action, being played by The Rock. I don't care if his name is Dwayne The Rock Johnson, it's The Rock. Sorry, but it is. As a long-time wrestling fan. But that is the cover, and that is definitely a sweet cover, I will say. Next is a comic I was not planning on getting issue 1 of, but the cover alone sold me to get the first issue out of curiosity. Because it's interesting. Hawk, Spider-Man, Vision, Ant-Man, Green Goblin with Venom. That just sounds very interesting. And I do think the art is a little different. Looks more like the animated shows would, rather than the traditional Marvel comics. And this should be interesting. Next is issue number 2 for Kingpin, which is of course part of the arc of Civil War II. And I will say the first issue was interesting, and the art style is a little different for the traditional Marvel style. And of course there is Wilson Fisk. It definitely makes the Kingpin look interesting. It should be a very interesting and fascinating issue, I will say. I'm definitely looking forward to reading it. Because I've always been intrigued, since actually the 90s. I've been intrigued by Wilson Fisk because the animated 90s Spider-Man series of 5 seasons. Because Kingpin was a very big part of that, and really it added a lot of the backstory to him. Next we have, of course, Invincible Iron Man, issue number 12. Remnants from a battle. And here we see Tony trying to discuss things a little bit more calmly. Now this issue doesn't look like we're going to see too much of actual Tony like in the Iron Man. So it's more about the character Tony Stark, more so the actual person rather than the suit. Because people seem to fail to remember that it's more about the actual person Tony Stark rather than the actual suit Iron Man. Because really they kind of go hand in hand. Next we have issue number 9 of Spidey, which of course I absolutely love this series. I definitely like the overall style because it does feel more, as I've mentioned before, like the 90s. Basically because of the cheesiness factor. And of course we see Kraven the Hunter, which I hope eventually Kraven actually gets to be in one of the live-action Spider-Man films. At least we knew Vulture is finally going to get to be in the next Spider-Man film, Homecoming, which I'm looking forward to. And that's a little preview of Spidey issue number 9. Next are 2 indies. This is only one of 2 issues. I actually was not planning on getting this, but I decided the cover kind of caught my eye because I've always loved Japanese culture, and in particular the Age of the Samurai. So this kind of caught my eye. It's from Titan Comics, and yeah. Well, this is actually issue 4, cover 1 of 2. So I need to try to pick up the first 1 through 3 issues, because this is really interesting, and the art style especially is fascinating. Because it does a good job of getting the detail and the style of things from this time period in feudal Japan. During the age of the, of course, the feudal era for the Tokugawa shogunate, which of course ruled Japan with an iron fist for 300 years. And it's very loyal to the old style manga and old style art you would have seen from that time period in Japan. And this is just a little preview that you'll see of this, because I can promise I will be reviewing this pretty soon. And the last for this week is from IDW. It's issue number 6 of Street Fighter Cross G.I. Joe. And yes, this is the final issue, so I'm only going to show a couple of the first pictures of it. And of course we see Blanca, or Blanca, however you want to pronounce it, of course. Because one way or the other, a group of people will say you mispronounced. But looks really interesting. And that is the final issue of the crossover. Now 3 non-comic things, which originally I was going to do as the next movie review, Dragon Ball Z History of Trunks, but this will be the next movie review I do, which I just picked up today. Batman, The Killing Joke. I've been waiting for this. I've owned the graphic novel for about 2 to 3 years now. Love it. And I can't wait to watch this. And the last 2 are 2 games I picked up from my local retro store. And the first is, since it was missing the cover, I got a reduced price. But yes, for the Dreamcast, Sonic Adventures. And for the N64, Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2. Which I can't wait to review this particular game. But that will be in the future. As always, remember, follow me at twitter.com/GokuSunDBZ, as well as at Google+. Well, and of course now on Tumblr. And remember, same YouTube time, same YouTube channel.